Uh,
Excellent. So now we're going to do an example of what a premium calculation would be. Again, the typical farm aggregation, if you don't have all the acres yourself, but for us to do a pooling, would be 10,000 acres ish, and or about $500,000 in premiums paid on the whole farm that we would sort out. And so that's kind of the pooling piece of things if need be, or else if you, and we're doing it in 1,000-acre increments. So it's easy to cipher out. So 1,000 acres of canola, wheat, and oats I think is the example we'll be using for this case, but everybody's individual numbers will get utilized with this.
oh my goodness, my Excel just crashed. Let me just try and get it up and going again.
Sure.
Okay.
So Sultan, I have a question for you. Have you got what's growing for weeds, and did you do anything before you started putting seed in the ground?
Our area, we got lots of winter annuals coming through, lots of like narrow leaf dandelion.
Yeah, and what did you spray it ahead of seeding?
Yeah, we're just we're putting some Roundup in on it for now and go with that. I think we'll probably, I don't know, we might do Authority yet on our peas, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, so the Authority, you throw it on ahead of seeding?
We do it after.
You do it after, so like the day before it's up or something.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, a couple days after we seed.
Oh, that's excellent. Good. So you must have really narrow openers and stuff. What are you using for openers on your drill? What kind of drill are you running?
A Morris C2 right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't wait to get rid of it though.
It's on the list, eh?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's either the lottery or a bumper crop. Hey?
Yeah.
I know you'll reinvest it in the farm.
It just seems to happen that every year that I'm thinking, oh yeah, new drill next year, and then the neighbor comes up and says, I want to sell some land. So that always takes priority.
It does, yeah. God only made so much dirt. That's what my grandpa always told me.
Yeah. And what drill are you gonna get, Sultan? What's on the wish list to get?
Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning between a pillar disc drill or a Batterstad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I had a pillar laser one, and I think is that disco is fantastic. Is you can see through anything. A flax stubble, you don't have a problem going through a flax stubble. Yeah, I had rental land one year, which was just laid fallow for years, and yeah, it was not a problem to go through any of the rubbish that was lying around. It is just the disturbance on the ground is next to nothing. But I did do a trial with Seed Hawk, and with Seed Hawk is in comparison to the pillar laser is the germination was quicker on Seed Hawk by roughly about 2 days on flax to pillar laser. But the thing is, because Seed Hawk disturbed the land so much that it is a black strip on the land where you seed. So of course it's getting warmer and the germination is much quicker because it's just a black strip. Where on the pillar laser side is your disturbance is next to nothing on the soil. So it takes that a little bit longer just to heat up, and the germination is about 2 days longer.
Good tip.
Yeah, but I'm a huge fan
I want something that can seed canola good. You know, that seems to always be the hardest one to get growing as nice as you want. So I want one to seed canola good, and I watched a bunch of these guys with the pillar drill have a lot of trouble last year for some reason getting their canola up out of the ground. I don't know what it was. We got so much rain and stuff, so I don't know if it compacted it in or too cool or what. But yeah, there's always a year where one drill fails and the other one excels. So you try and pick the one that's going to win most years in a row.
Yeah.
Well, just to comment on the pillar, I bought a new drill in 14 myself. Wasn't the pillar, but I had two neighbors that did, and basically they gave them back. They had so much trouble with them. Obviously, they've changed some designing of them, but they couldn't go in wet, heavy soil. They had a hell of a time with them. So I don't know if that's part of what you're seeing there when you're talking of the Polars having trouble there last year or whatnot. But yeah, just definitely something to look into for you anyways. But yeah, I had two neighbors in 14, 15 that gave theirs back and took a bath on them.
Yeah, I know of someone else who struggled with their pillar laser as well, because there's the Mark 1 and the Mark 2 openers they've got, and the Mark 2 opener is definitely much better than the Mark 1, specifically with the compacting wheel at the back. And yes, but yeah, that the hoe also, they've changed that a little bit in terms of how the layout of it is, because your fertilizer run is about an inch away from the seed, and it's also an inch and a half lower. So, and that makes it a little bit of a problem when it's wet, because yeah, you can disturb the soil a little bit if it's on wet soil. So yeah.
Anyway, good sidebar. Let's talk about this insurance gig. What's your example? What do you have in front of us here, Carol?
So what I've got here is just showing you that roughly an example of canola, oats, and wheat here. So the whole idea of this insurance, of course, is very dynamic, and you just want to cover your cost. So for this instance here, you basically are looking at canola, and your price per bushel, which I've got in here, $17.54. And if your average yield is 51 bushels, basically 52 bushels, but your break-even yield is 40, and that's what you want to cover, that basically work out that your cost per acre is going to be $23.74 to cover you for that break-even value. And so I've got an example here roughly. So if we say, yeah, let me just change I've got to up this one a little bit here. So actually we want your trigger amount at 40 bushels. So I just got to change that to make sure that it is 40 bushels there. Oh, it's so slow. I don't know why it doesn't want to come up. Oh, it's one of these days. My desktop is just not playing along. I think it's because of the early start this morning. It's just blowing it all out.
Your numbers are changing now.
Yeah, okay. There we go. It's closer.
So, Greg, when are you going to be starting in the field, or have you a little bit? Maybe he's got both hands busy.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So with this example is basically if you want if your average yield is 52 bushels, and you
Mhm.
want to cover 40 bushels, and for example, it's going to work out roughly of a cost for $28.14 an acre.
And if I read that correctly, you have a $28 fee and you have a payout of $280 for that. Is that correct? So it's
Yeah,
basically a 10-to-1 cost per acre versus what the payout per acre would be. Is that correct?
that's correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we can play with it, all of this around here as well, to just to make it according to what you specifically works for you,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can cover it specifically, making sure that that's your coverage you want.
Excellent. So on that calculator, again, the thing to remember is that these numbers are based upon a farm's specific data. So your numbers as a farmer would be different for all of this because it has to be based upon the farm's individual data. This happens to be on a farm in a relatively lower risk zone versus a higher risk zone. So just as a qualifier, that would be the thing to be of note, is it's per farm.
Yeah. Yeah, all of these calculation is 100% specific to your farm and your data. And it's not it's pooled or anything with anyone else. So it's very specific to your requirements and no one else's.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this calculation is very dynamic. We can play around with it in every different way which you like until we get to a point where you feel this is what you are comfortable with. So, but to get to this point, I just need roughly your last 5 years of yields and acreage. Then I can work out the probability in terms of the insurance stuff, which is you do a few calculations at the end, and then we get to this point where we can play around with this model non-stop to get to an amount which is you feel comfortable with.
A question I have for you, Carol, would be, does this factor in historical claims that have been done, or is that just that is compensated for and where the average yield gets put into the mix, and that's a factor already taken in?
Yes, so
Okay.
historical claims is not included. It's only the average yield. Yes, is the factor where it's taken in.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. No, that's cool.
The key thing is just that we can juggle all these numbers around after we've got that information to make sure that it is something you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. That's excellent. Great. Okay. Was there any other points you wanted to touch on, Carol?
Not at this stage. No, I think that's good.
Great. Okay. Well, you can just unshare that now if you want, and we can just go back to our open floor. Is there anything that you guys would like clarity on, or any of that kind of stuff? Is it relatively logical in your minds with stuff? Any takeaways? Perfect. Well, with that, I'd just like to thank each of you for your time and attention. Again, this is going to be recorded. It's going to be thrown on our YouTube channel along with Jackie will do after she's done some editing, and she'll get it on our website. The text invite I sent out did include last week's more in-depth discussion as well. And so you're welcome to view that at your leisure and whatnot. Or I don't think I've got a sleepy voice, so or whatever. So if you need to go to sleep, it might put you to sleep if you're having trouble, but you're more than welcome to see if that works for you and all that good stuff. But I just want to thank each of you for attending, and we look forward to answering any questions that come about from this.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you, Dean.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right
thanks,
on,
guys.
Carol. I'll phone you in a minute, Carol. And
Okay.
yeah, and thanks, Sultan, for taking the time. Really appreciate it. It was good to see you